Hey, Bible nerds! Welcome back to our Bible study session where we talk about the women of the Bible. Today, we're walking through one of the most beautiful stories of loyalty, love, and divine redemption, the story of Ruth. It's my favorite story, actually, in the Bible. So good. If you're into, love story and romantic stuff and finding the right man, whatever, all that. And of course, the story of redemption. This is the story for you. So go ahead and grab your drink, get cozy, and I'm gonna, get into the story. So our story begins in the days when the judges ruled. It was a time of chaos in Israel. It was the book of Judges. If you've read it, it's like a cycle of humans being humans. Anyways, so people did whatever seemed right in their own eyes. Then famine struck Bethlehem, and Bethlehem. The house of bread ran out of bread. Ironically, so a man named Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their sons Mahlon and Kilion left Bethlehem for Moab, a foreign land. It wasn't just a move; it was survival. But Moab was enemy territory, spiritually and politically opposed to Israel. While in Moab, tragedy hit. Elimelech died. Then Naomi's sons married Moabite women. Their names are Orpah and Ruth. And for 10 years, the family lived there. But then both of Naomi's sons died too. So Naomi was left with nothing. No sons, no husband, no security, nothing. All she had were her two Moabite daughters-in-law and, a heart full of grief. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine. Hearing that God had restored food to Bethlehem, Naomi decided to return home. She urged Orpah and Ruth to go back to their families, because they're originally from Moab. So, makes sense for them to just stay in Moab. But Naomi says, I'm too old to have a husband. Even if I could, would you wait for sons you'll never have? So Orpah kissed Naomi goodbye, heartbroken but obedient. It makes sense, I can't blame her for wanting to stay home, really, to where it's familiar. She's a Moabite and she wants to stay in Moab. It makes sense. But Ruth clung to her and said words that still echo through time. This is actually a really good one. She says, Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. So Naomi and Ruth journeyed back to Bethlehem, two widows with empty hands, but steadfast hearts. When they arrived, the whole town stirred. Naomi said, and they're like, Naomi, are you back? And Naomi was like, don't call me Naomi, because Naomi means pleasant. She said, call me Mara, and Mara means bitter. For the Almighty has made my life bitter. So, the chapter closes with even because of, hang on. Despite that, the chapter closes with a spark of hope. They arrived in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. Now, being back in Bethlehem, the women had to survive. Ruth, the outsider, offered to go into the fields to glean, to pick up leftover grain behind the harvesters, as, allowed by law for the poor and foreigners. By coincidence, or rather divine arrangement, she ended up in the field of a man named Boaz, a wealthy, I love this story, a wealthy and kind landowner, and a relative of Elimelech, actually. So So Boaz noticed Ruth immediately, not for her looks, but for her faithfulness. He'd heard how she left her homeland to care for Naomi. So Boaz told her, stay in my fields. I've told the man not to touch you. When you are thirsty, drink from the water jars. So that kind of protection was rare, especially for a foreign woman. So Ruth bowed and said, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes?" Boaz replied, "May the Lord repay you for what you've done. May you be richly rewarded by the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." That evening, Ruth returned home with an abundance of barley, enough for days. Naomi's eyes lit up. She said, "Whose field were you in?" Then, when Ruth said Boaz, Naomi's heart flickered with hope. "That man is our close relative, one of our kinsmen redeemers." Coincidence? I think not. So as harvest season ended, Naomi formed a plan. She told Ruth, "Boaz is our kinsman redeemer. Wash, perfume yourself, and put on your best clothes. Then go to the threshing floor tonight." So this wasn't seduction, it was symbolism. Ruth was making a legal, humble request for redemption. So Ruth waited until Boaz had eaten and fallen asleep beside a grain. Quietly she approached, uncovered his feet, and lay down, a gesture of submission. When Boaz woke, startled, Ruth said, "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman redeemer." Boaz was moved. "The Lord bless you, my daughter. This kindness is greater than what you showed before. Don't worry, I will do as you ask." But there was a complication. Another man was a closer relative. Still, Boaz promised to handle it properly. So he sent Ruth home with 6 measures of barley, a sign of his commitment and generosity. Now, Naomi smiled knowingly and said, "Wait, my daughter, that man will not rest until this matter is settled today." So the next morning, Boaz went to the city gate, the ancient courtroom of Bethlehem. He called the closer relative to discuss Naomi's land and Ruth's redemption. So Boaz explained, "You can redeem the land of Elimelech, but with it comes Ruth, the Moabite widow." The man hesitated. "I can't redeem it. It might endanger my own estate." And just like that, he removed his sandal, the symbolic way of, "I relinquish my right." Then Boaz declared before the elders, "Today you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Mahlon, and Kilion, and I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite as my wife." The crowd cheered and blessed them, saying, "May the Lord make this woman like Rachel and Leah, who built up the house of Israel." Soon after Boaz married Ruth, their union was blessed with a son named Obed. Naomi, who once called herself bitter, now held new life in her arms. The women said, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a redeemer." And here's the twist that makes the book of Ruth a cornerstone of redemption history. Obed grew up to be the father of Jesse, who was the father of David, the shepherd boy king, and generations later, from David's line came Jesus Christ, our ultimate redeemer. What a story. What a story. This is like one of my favorite from the Bible. From famine to fullness, from widowhood to motherhood, from Moab to the Messiah. So Naomi thought God had abandoned her, but he was writing a story far bigger than she could imagine. Imagine their line. That's where Jesus' line came from, their line. So Ruth's faithfulness became the doorway to redemption, not just for Naomi, but for all of us. In part 2, we will unpack the deeper truths behind this story, the meaning of kinsman redeemer, God's providence in our pain, and what Ruth's loyalty teaches us about real faith. So read Ruth again after hearing about this one, after listening about this one, if you want to, and just Just read it slowly. Picture, the dusty roads, the barley fields, and the kindness of Boaz. And remember, even when life feels bitter, God is still working behind the scenes. You'll never know. Like, you could be, what's the word I'm thinking about? I lost my train of thought. Disregard. Anyway, that is it for our part 1 of our Bible study on Ruth. I'll see y'all in part 2.